What is up, guys, and welcome back to PowerPointer 257 C++ tutorial series. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to make an actual program within our main function that will incorporate a lot of the basic skills that we've learned so far. We're going to make a Pig Latin program. And I feel like there are a few different ways that Pig Latin, some people say that it's strictly just you take the first word and put it on the end. How I'm going to do it is if we had a word say hello, or any string value, but in this case just hello, we're going to take the first letter, we're going to put it on the end of all the subsequent letters, but not including the first, and then after that we're going to add AY. So hello would become LO, hey. And so these are this kind of step-by-step directions of what we're going to do up here. Right, so let's get into it. So we know that we're going to add AY to after every single string, right? So right away I'm going to declare a string, say I'm going to call it AY, and I'm going to set it equal to AY, right? And then next, I'm going to set a string variable. I'm going to call it string x, and I'm not going to initialize it. And finally, I'm going to declare a char variable, and I'm going to call it first. Why? Because remember when I said you can think of strings as arrays of characters? Each of these are an individual character, right? And strings are eventually implicitly terminated with followed with a null terminator. You don't need to know that for right now, but so I'm going to hopefully assign first equal to this first character in this quote unquote, even though it's technically not an array, a string is an array of characters. And so now let's get into what we're going to do. We're going to print out to the console or to the user, please, because we're nice, enter a string. And then now we could enter an individual word. I could say enter a word, but there could be strings that have spaces, multiple spaces. So what I'm going to do, remember, we're going to use getLine. We could use CIN if we wanted an individual word, but if they have spaces, it's going to stop right after the first white space. So I'm going to put getLine, CIN, and then I'm going to store this into X. Okay, so at this point, we should ask the user for a string, and then they'll enter it, and now X will have that string stored. And so now, when we haven't gotten quite into arrays yet, but an array, I'll just say really quickly, of say 4 characters is say 1, 2, 3, 4. How we access this first character right here is R of 0, right? And so negative 0, 0. And so this is what we're going to set our character equal to, because if you think of this string hello as an array, the first element is just an individual character, and this char is just looking for one character. So we're going to set first equal to x of 0. Cool. So now we have everything we got. And remember our last video, or one of our recent videos, we've talked about string concatenation and the ability to add variables, of character, type character, and strings to equal one string as a whole. So now we're going to print out, and this is one actually kind of cool technique. There's something called a substring operator. For some of you that maybe have a Python experience and working with lists, if you could say, if you had say a list and you had a list called x, right, and you didn't want to access this first variable, but you wanted to access all the following ones, you could do something like list of 1, and then this would just go from index 1 all the way up until the end, or you could say index 1 to 4 or whatnot. So you notice how we want to access everything that's in the string except for the first operator. So what we're going to do in C++, the syntax is going to be, we're going to print out x, because x is our whole string, dot sub str. Then we're going to follow it up with these parentheses. And in this case, we want everything that's after the 0th character. So we want to include the first, and then we're just going to put 1 for right now, because this is actually going to let us access all of the following characters. We could put a comma, say in like 1 to 4. This would access, say, from index 1, which would be E, all the way up until 2, 3, 4, all the way through O. But if we had a longer string, that wouldn't work. But for right now, we're just going to say x.substring 1, and that's just going to take us from the 1th index, which is actually the second character, all the way through the rest of the string. And then we're going to add to this our first variable. And remember, our first variable, this is the first character in the string. And then finally, we're going to tag along to the back the variable AY. So now, if we run this, we say, please enter a string. I'm going to say hello. Boom, hello, hey. Now, what if we wanted to enter a string with multiple spaces? Let's say, I don't like chocolate milk. And in this case, it says, I don't like chocolate milk. Yes, and it's the same logic applied, right? We had everything beforehand, right? A space all the way up until the end. Then we tagged along this first element, or first character in this case, and then tagged along AY at the end. So I hope you guys followed along with me. This is Pig Latin program is always a really good one for beginners. It tests a lot of the key skills that we've learned, and it's kind of fun, you know, to play around with. It tests a lot of good skills that are foundational. So I hope you guys had fun in this video. Keep programming, keep getting better, guys. Till next time, peace.